A couple of days ago, Diddy shared a post on Instagram with the caption, "Time tells truth." And it does, but oftentimes it's way too late for a lot of victims. But in this case, it's right on time. Let's talk about it.
Y'all already know what time it is. I got the black V-neck on.
So what's going on, you all? I know many of us have already seen the video, the very shocking video of Diddy and Cassie from the hotel. And let me just tell you, I am completely disgusted. And I am really not understanding how people are waiting to now to speak up when Cassie had came out with very detailed incidents of everything that she has experienced in her lawsuit that she filed against Diddy back in November of 2023. Now, even though Diddy settled out of court, his lawyer released a statement and said that a settlement doesn't mean admission of guilt. But looking at this video, Diddy had a lot to be guilty of. So we need to have a real in-depth conversation about why this situation is familiar for a lot of us who have been seeing people being called out, and folks' response is, "I did not want to believe it," because sometimes people lie. We really need to understand that victims have no reason to lie. They do not benefit from anything of this. They oftentimes are shunned. That is why it's very important for us to believe the victims from the very beginning, because if we do, we get to the truth, and time does tell truth. So CNN obtained this 2016 hotel video of Diddy and Cassie, and in this video you can see Cassie basically fighting off Diddy. You're watching Diddy come out of a hotel room in the lobby situation, in the hallway, coming to the elevator, meeting Cassie. Cassie is looking like she is trying to get away. She is trying to get on the elevator, and Diddy has caught her and has stomped her, has kicked her. And even when she was on the phone talking to the front desk, trying to get somebody to help her, Diddy is seen throwing vases and things at her. Now, if we look back at the lawsuit that Cassie filed against Diddy back last year, she detailed this very incident. This is what she said in her lawsuit. In or around March 2016, during an FO at the Intercontinental Hotel in Century City, Los Angeles, Mr. Combs became extremely intoxicated and punched Miss Ventura in the face, giving her a black eye. After he fell asleep, Miss Ventura tried to leave the hotel room, but as she exited, Mr. Combs woke and began screaming at Miss Ventura. He followed her into the hallway of the hotel while yelling at her. He grabbed at her and then took glass vases in the hallway and threw them at her, causing glass to crash around them as she ran to the elevator to escape. She managed to get into the elevator, and when she got to the lobby, quickly took a cab to her apartment. Upon realizing that her running away would cause Mr. Combs to be even angrier with her and completely stuck in his vicious cycle of abuse, Miss Ventura returned to the hotel with the intention of apologizing for running away from her abuser. When she returned, hotel security staff urged her to get back into a cab and go to her apartment, suggesting that they had seen the security footage showing Mr. Combs beating Miss Ventura and throwing glass at her in the hotel hallway. This is the video that we're seeing. This is the video that we're seeing. And it is a lot. Like trigger warning for this conversation. I'm so sorry. Like, this has to be discussed. A lot of us did not want to see this go in court. Like, a lot of folks were saying we need to see Diddy, go to court. But this would have been a lot for the victim, Cassie, to relive. She would have to relive all of this trauma. And seeing how Diddy has been manipulative over the years, I'm glad that she did not have to go through that, but I'm sad to see this video being played for clicks and views, and people are now turning it into pop culture reactions. Like, you got Whack 100 doing a video about it and talking about him. Y'all have these men coming out the woodwork, even 50 Cent talking about Diddy, and y'all still surround yourselves by abusers. Y'all still are very the reason why black women choose the bear versus you all. That is the reason why, because of things like this. You all do not want to believe it until it is too late. We're not going to get the quote unquote perfect case every time. This is not a perfect case. There's no such thing. There's not going to be video footage all the time. And we need to get into the mode of believing people from the very beginning. This video was recorded back in 2016. 2016. Like, that's almost 10 years ago. 2 more years, it'll be 10 years since this video was filmed. Diddy allegedly paid $50,000 for this video to be deleted. No one reported it. Nobody said anything. So when we talk about people who get away with things, even though they are famous, how can they get away with stuff like it? If they did this stuff, how would they get away with it? Hey, Drake, it's because of power. It's because of power and influence. And Diddy has all of that. Around this time, Diddy's like social capital was very, very high. I believe that is the reason why he wanted Cassie by his side. Like, men like him want a symbol of status to be with a lighter, desirable, thin woman. And he treated her like trash behind the scenes. And not too behind the scenes, because people saw these things. People saw these things and they did not act. They did not act. And it's heartbreaking to see and realize that a lot of people were worried about filling their pockets and being in a situation where they can benefit from the capital that comes with being close to a celebrity, that they didn't speak on it. We see these things even now. Like, even when I was reading and seeing this whole situation, I'm hearing the recent songs from the Drake and Kendrick beef, where both of these men are throwing allegations at each other. And it's like, you know, girl, what is going on? Like, y'all are still around folks who are doing these things, and y'all have no problem, like, you know, being around these people. So do you really care about the things that are happening to Black women or women in general? Or do you only care about it when it's somebody that you do not like? That's why we have conversations about desire, capital, and power, because no one wanted to believe that Diddy was doing these things, even though it was a silent joke. Like, people jokingly made comments about how Diddy is. We've seen Young Miami make comments about, you know, don't talk about Diddy. You be careful with Diddy. Like, if I want you to, Diddy will have you being down, being an eater. Like, people recognize that Diddy has done some things in the past, and now this is coming to light. And yes, it's coming to light and we're seeing it, but at what cost when so many people have been harmed in the process? It is oftentimes too late. It is too late. The victim has already experienced these things, and more victims have experienced these things. So, like, yes, but it has taken how long to get to this point? Same thing with Weinstein. Like, how long did it take? How many people had to go through these things before time told the truth? And we're going to get to the truth later on. Now, Diddy and Cassie continue to be in a relationship and date after that. Now, Cassie said in the lawsuit that she stayed in this because she did not want to deal with the cycle of abuse from him if he, you know, saw her leave or get out. Like, she's leaving this situation. She's trying to get out. And we have to really understand that victims cannot sometimes leave. They cannot leave because they are fearful of losing themselves, being unalived in the process of trying to escape. This woman waited. This is a adult. Like, this is a adult who does not have the power to be able to leave the relationship, had to leave when this man was asleep. Had to leave when this man was asleep. She was in a public place. She was in a hotel room. Now, I want to read this to you all from the National Coalition Against Domestic Violence. A victim's reason for staying with their abusers are extremely complex, and in most cases are based on their reality that their abuser will follow through with the threats they have used to keep them trapped. They will hurt or unalive the kids. They will win custody of the children. Power, 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 power. Even though Diddy and Cassie did not have kids, he had power over her. He was way older than her. She had been with him since an early age, and also she was signed to his label. He met her in the beginning part of her career. So he's been able to do these things to her since the very beginning of meeting her when she was 19 years old. Like, come on now, let's be honest. And even after the relationship ended with Cassie and Diddy and they went their separate ways, you would see Diddy mention Cassie and wish her well. He even did it while receiving the Lifetime Achievement Award back in 2022 from BET.
Yeah, and also Cassie for holding me down in the dark times. Love.
And I'm wondering if some of these people will rescind the awards they have given to Diddy. But if they do that, they're going to have to go down a long list. Even Dr. Dre recently. I mean, the whole industry when it comes to like rap and like the whole thing is just filled with folks who are not very good people and who have levied their power to do things to people that should not be done. And I'm sending my love to Cassie and other victims in this situation because it makes me think about a dear person that I lost years ago. And I've talked about that, my aunt, who was a victim of these things, and did not make it out, like, did not make it out. And, we just really have to really understand when people are dealing with these folks, it is not easy to leave. It is not easy to get out of traumatic situations. And even my aunt dealt with that, and ended up losing her life to that. And it's just it's really a lot to process. I'm not even gonna hold y'all. It's a lot to process that you have folks who knew these things were going on, knew that this was like going on, like they saw the videos, and nobody reported it. Nobody said, hey, we can't take this. Nobody had a shred of decency. And this is the stuff that we're seeing on video footage. There's no telling what other things have been done. And come to find out, looking at the lawsuit, there are things that have happened that are even worse than this. And it's just jarring for folks to see it. But I don't need to see the video to realize that Cassie experienced that. I do not have to. I can just look at it surfacely and see that her signing with this man at this young age while being in a relationship with him was not right to begin with. It was not right to begin with. This is the culture. I'm thinking about a lot of men who've been using the term no Diddy. If you haven't seen it, folks have been using that on social media a lot. Because of the allegations against Diddy, but not the actual harm that he has done. The things that have been documented, the things that have been talked about, the things that we unfortunately are now seeing in this video from 2016. I'm wondering, can these men use this? And I'm thinking they can't, because a lot of them are these things. A lot of them are, like, they see it being worse being gay or queer or whatever than actually being an abuser, and they can't understand how that looks. They cannot, and they do not want to understand. And then they be upset at women when they see these TikToks and these Instagram posts and tweets about women choosing the bear over the man. And this is why. This is a never-ending cycle of harm being experienced by women by the hands of men. So that is your answer for those who've been trying to understand, like, this is it. Because when I saw it, I was like, what is going on? I didn't understand the trend, but this is it. This is it. Like, Cassie is still alive, but the piece of her who has like experienced this will always be in her. Like, she will never be able to get completely out of that. That is something that she will have to live with for the rest of her life. And something that you will always have to work on and seek healing from, because you do never like completely heal from something as traumatic as this, especially something that's going on for years psychologically. And this man is able to, rebrand himself over and over again as the love doctor, all of these things, as the guru, riding around the city on bicycles and stuff. There is no excuse for this. And there is no way for Diddy to get out of this. There is no way for Diddy to come out and explain himself, because he said out of his own mouth that the things that, were talked about, none of that stuff happened. It's too much stuff going on, da da da. But we see it. Like, we see the video. I didn't need to see the video. I don't need to see what's happening in Palestine for me to understand what's going on. I don't need to see videos of that. I don't need to see never-ending cycles of police brutality experienced by Black folks to know that these things are going on. I don't need to be jarred in that type of moment. I don't need to experience that, because I know it is happening. But for those who say that it's not, you should need to see video proof of it to believe it. Like, I just don't get that. And as I end this video, I'm also thinking about folks who are saying this is the end of Diddy. Like, Diddy is done. He's cooked. He's baked. He's finished. And I don't know if that's true. looking at all of the other men who have done the same thing, and it has been documented, it has been pictures and stuff of it. I think maybe some years from now, like Diddy will, recover from this. It probably will never be the same, but men are allowed to, get out of this image of that. Like, that's why he's in the beginning process of posting pictures of his family and his kids, relying on this cis hetero patriarchal image to frame himself as a good man, a good father, a good person, while we're seeing videos of you do things and hearing stories and stuff. This cannot be a situation where folks are trying to slander you. This is documented stuff, which is probably why you settled, because you knew that this was probably going to come out. You had to know. I wouldn't be surprised if there was some type of awareness of this video being out, and probably some of the reason why he might have settled so quickly, because there is visual evidence of these things. And yes, again, I am, giving my love and stuff to the victims of folks who have experienced DV. And like, I think this is just a reminder of, once again, the culture, the state of the culture, and who is benefiting from the culture. And this is a lot to see over the last couple of weeks when it comes to the industry and music and entertainment and stuff, like this never-ending cycle of these things. These people were in positions of power and using their influence to do harm to folks. It's truly saddening. That's all I got, y'all. Sound off in the comments what your thoughts are below. If this is your first time, subscribe. Until next time, I'll talk y'all later. Bye.